My guest today is author Ted Orenstein, who writes, speaks, and teaches about spiritual enlightenment. He enjoys sharing that there is a purpose and direction to the universe and that it is good. A former lawyer, Ted's mission is to help others find greater meaning and fulfillment and a deeper understanding of why people are what they are. In today's episode, Ted talks about his book, Awaken Your Soul, How to Find Your Inner Spirit and Live Life's Purpose. Welcome to Lifeology.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Well, you told me today this is your first interview, so we are honored that you are here today, and we will kind of help you through the whole situation as well. So congratulations.
Thanks.
How did you go from a lawyer to someone who teaches about spiritual enlightenment?
Well, I actually became enlightened before I was a lawyer. Well, actually, when I was studying for the bar exam. And the 2 years after that, I had various enlightenment experiences. So I've always, while being a lawyer, I have experienced enlightenment. It doesn't always stay with you because we are in this world. We have to make a living, but you never forget what you learn from that experience. So I practice my law that way. I try to help
Oh,
people.
interesting.
I became after a while, I became a divorce lawyer. And I found people at one of the worst times of their life where they'd lost all hope and they lost all trust in people, and they had to trust me, and I worked with them, and I got them back on their feet.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, to see people at their darkest time, through divorce, that can be really overwhelming. Now, when you use the word enlightened, what does that mean to you? So we all have the same understanding of what that word means.
Okay, well, it's something that you cannot describe in words, but I'm going to try. You understand everything. You love the universe absolutely, and you understand the universe absolutely, which means you understand everything, not technically or mechanically, but you understand the basis of everything. Therefore, therefore you see the good in all people.
Yeah.
And you look for the good in all people, even people that may have been affected by bad things in their life that make them act bad and do destructive things. You look for the good in them and you try to bring it out.
Yeah. Now, everyone has a different idea of religion, spirituality. I hear you use the word universe. So for you, that's the collective of everything?
That is the oneness.
The oneness. Okay.
The unification of everything, the commonality of everything, the thing that runs through everything. And as far as religion, I don't. Well, I guess I practice one religion, kind of, but my whole idea is spirituality. What spiritual enlightenment gave me was the connection to the core that sits at the base of all religions, the common aspect of all religions. So I'm not one particular religion. Everybody has their own way of doing things. Everybody has their own path, but we all end up at the same place. That place that I found it through when I became enlightened out of nowhere. I didn't expect it.
What's different for you that the person before enlightenment versus the person now? What's different and what's the same?
Wow, that's a good question. I guess that love that I found, that I understand that there is an absolute love that is common between me and everybody, and I have to find the goodness in people because that helps everybody. If I'm angry with somebody or treat somebody cruelly, it makes me unhappy and makes them unhappy.
Yeah.
If somebody is angry at me or does something bad to me, I don't give it back. I give love back.
Yeah.
And that's really it. I've learned that. That's what I learned. To give love, to live in love.
Yeah. And sometimes, we have what's called tough love as well. So sometimes some people's version of love is very passive at times. Other times it can have a different face, but it's still the same thing.
Just because you love someone doesn't mean you cannot protect society from their bad acts. I think of when I was younger and my children were like a 1 year old or whatever. They used to be with their 1 year old friends, and they would bite each other or grab a toy away and start screaming. And you know, just because you love your child, you look at what's happening, and you very calmly
Yeah.
take the toy away or put the child in his room to until he cools off. It doesn't mean you don't love him.
Yeah, exactly. Let's transition into your book, Awaken Your Soul: How to Find Your Inner Spirit and Life's Purpose. Tell us more about this book.
Well, um, actually, long before I guess I've always been interested in. I guess I have always been interested in spirituality.
Mhm.
Um, Even in law school, I was like the social chairman of my fraternity, and um, I chose a course, an elective, law and religion, and I try to set up a debate between my professor Robert Drinan, who was a Catholic priest, and
Mhm.
Madeline Murray O'Hare, who was a famous atheist who was living in the same
Yeah.
city at the same time. I try to get them to do a talk together, but she agreed, but he wouldn't do it. So I've
Hmm.
always been interested. I've been always,
Yeah.
I've been thinking back, and I've been always reading books on that. And I, over the years, when I connect with something in books, I write it down so I don't
Mhm.
forget it. I don't have the world's best memory. And so when I thought that I might write a book,
Mhm.
I looked at my bookshelf and I saw dozens of books that had notes tucked in them from when I was reading them, and I found things important. So what I did is I took all the notes out of all the books, put them in a file. It turned out to be a 6-inch thick pocket file, and I
Gosh. Wow.
sent it to a typist, and she put it all into a thumb drive, and I put it into my computer, and then I started organizing it into different categories to make chapters, and that's when I actually started working on the book.
Wow, that's very interesting. So, is this more of a self-help book, a spiritual book, a workbook? What kind of book specifically is the format of it?
It's a self-help spiritual book. It's
Okay.
to try to help, and actually, I've been doing self-help books. When I was a lawyer, I actually have a number of books that I wrote for
Oh.
lawyers. Yeah, on law practice and on divorce law. So I actually had experience in doing that, helping people.
Mhm.
And I found when I was doing that I do have a knack for taking complex concepts and putting them into simple ways, and then putting
Yeah.
in a step-by-step checklist, I guess, so that people can that think they're overwhelmed to get to a certain place, they can use it step by step. And I've used it for this book. First in the book, I tell people my story, my journey of how I went from atheist. In college, I was an
Hmm,
atheist
interesting. Interesting.
because I could not, because I'm a rational person. I couldn't
Yeah.
accept that somebody created the earth in 6 days and part of the Red Sea, and you
Hmm.
beg to, you try to get their favor, and they'll create miracles for you. Now, I
Sure.
couldn't believe in that. Um, so I consider myself an atheist until um, through this enlightenment experience came to me, and I realized in hindsight that the reason I was an atheist is because I had accepted the definition of God that I'd grown up with, that people had given me,
Mm.
in Sunday school or whatever,
Yeah.
and I just rejected it. But what I found was that God was not some omnipresent being up on a cloud with a booming voice, but really a feeling within my soul that I had the ability to connect with,
Mm.
and everybody can connect with it.
Sure.
And when you go into that, into your spirit, which is clouded by everyday life, but if you find a way to get to it and go into it, that is your porthole, your way into finding your spirit. And through finding your spirit, you are connected with all spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, you understand the universe if you get there. That's the way to do it. It's not through your thinking brain, because your thinking brain only knows things by their size and their color and their height and their weight and
Hmm.
whatever. You don't think about, you don't understand love through your thinking brain, do you?
Yeah.
But you don't deny love because it's not part of your thinking brain. So you can't find God through your thinking brain or enlightenment through your thinking brain. You have to go into your soul to find your spirit to find it.
Now, in your book, I know you talk about pretty much all the different religions have the same foundation. What would you say that foundation is beyond I guess the obvious?
Well, the one commonality is love. And there have been various religious historians who have agreed that the one thing about religion is love. That the
Mm,
base of all religion is love. Even though people that practice religions, you wonder how they do the opposite of love. But whatever. The base of all religions is love. It's been covered by the bureaucracy and the gaining favor of religious
sure.
organizations because they turn into politicians rather than spirituality people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So the commonality between all religions is love, and love gets you to the oneness, the unity, the commonality you have with all life.
Gotcha. Yeah. You'd also said that instead of God being this big booming person or big voice sitting up in a cloud, you were saying that for you, you find that the subtlety of connecting through your soul. Walk me through that a little bit more.
Well, you can get. I When it came to me out of nowhere
Mhm.
in the middle of the night. In hindsight, I realized that I really had been doing a form of meditation. It was a
Okay.
quiet, it was dark, I was cold. It was in the middle of the winter, and I was studying for the bar exam, and my mind was wandering. And somehow I saw beneath the noise of the world. And when you do that, there is a life within you that uh, is there, and you can see it. Just as during the day when the sun is brilliant and hot, you can't see the stars. At night, they were there all the time, but at night when the sun
Sure.
is
Yeah.
gone, you see the stars. It's the same thing
Mhm.
with your spirit. This world that we're in now is so noisy and busy that your spirit is so subtle that you can't detect your spirit when you're there. So meditation actually is
Yeah.
an effective technique used by people for thousands of years. It's proven to to still your thinking brain so that your inner spiritual existence can come out and you can connect with it. I don't know if I answered your
When
question.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, life is so busy, and so as you said, meditation is a really good way to do that. Sometimes people think that meditation it has to be hours on end. How do you? Perhaps in your book you talk about this. How do you help people be able to listen for the subtlety or the quietness of the spirit while they're going throughout a busy day? Let's say they're in a busy
Well,
meeting or they're doing
well, yeah.
something like that.
Well, in a busy meeting, you can start breathing deeply, but
Hmm.
you don't want to. You kind of don't want to do it when you're in a meeting because you're supposed to pay attention. There's a reason why you're in the meeting. So,
That's
what you
true.
should do before the meeting, okay?
Okay, that's
Sit at
fair.
your desk. Take maybe 15 minutes and close your eyes and breathe deeply in so that your abdomen expands, and then breathe slowly out and breathe slowly in, and pay attention only to your breath. Feel your breath coming in, feel your breath going out. If it helps, you can count. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. And just think about that. And you will find that you're somehow will the rest of the world fades away, and
Mm,
you'll only be focused on breathing, which is nothing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you can do it like for 15 minutes even, but you should do it for a good time, like once a week. Like I talk in my book about why did they create the Sabbath in the Bible? Because those people that wrote the Bible, some of them were politicians, but others were spiritual people, and they knew that in order to keep their spiritual feeling alive, they had to take time out at least once a week, a long period of time once a week, and just maybe an hour, and get into meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation is a form of prayer. It's a very effective form of prayer. And then once you do it once a week, um, then you don't have to do it for a long time, like every day or half an hour, 15 minutes. So you get back, your spirit will remember it. Your whatever it's inside of you. Once you start getting into meditation and connecting with your spirit, it becomes easier and easier as you do it. Your body kind of knows what it has to do.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think that's one thing. Excuse me. I think that's what. Excuse me. I think
It's
that's one
just
thing that
contagious.
many people. I know, right? I know you have a cough as well. I apologize. I know you were saying as well as to really connect with that subtlety of the oneness of that. Yes, there are different techniques one can do when life doesn't go well for someone and it doesn't make sense. How does the spirit and awakening your soul? How does that help you understand life when it doesn't make sense?
It helps you understand that the people on the other end of the phone line, like this morning, I had a situation where we tried to renew our prescriptions, and because of some snafu, we didn't get
Mm-hmm.
one, and then I was on hold for 45 minutes with the
Oh goodness!
pharmacy department, and you know how you get
Wow.
to feel when that happens.
Yes, I know.
So it helps you understand that the people on the other side are just doing the best they can.
Mhm.
Maybe not the robot who made you wait 45 minutes, but once you get to a human person, and so
Yeah.
you try, it reminds you not to be angry with that person just because of what happened to you. Um, and you can start breathing deeply while you're on hold, or
Mhm.
while these things. There are days when things go bad, like one thing after another. Why can't
Yeah.
my day go smoothly? Well, maybe it's time to sit down and take some deep breaths and slow yourself down and get back to where you are
Mm.
moderate, where you're not leaping around emotionally.
And what I'm hearing as well is the preventative aspect of one's life. Um, when when we do get too busy or we forget about the importance of connecting to something greater than ourselves, that is something where life doesn't seem to go well. So for what I'm really hearing for you is to create these daily practices. Perhaps what I would tell people, how you start your day is indicative of how your day is going to go. So starting your day in these practices that you'll be teaching in your book can really help people be able to sustain themselves throughout their day as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Meditation helps you do that, but just
Hmm.
remembering uh, once you've, it's really important to get to try to have revelations of how much you are like everybody else. You have to realize that
Yeah.
I'm like you. You know, I have bad days. I can be nasty to people until I remember what I'm supposed to do. I know that you're doing the best you can. I know
Sure.
that deep down you're just looking for love and you're looking to help people, and I have to remember that. And connecting with enlightenment, with God, helps me
Hmm.
remember to do that. I mean, I catch myself. Our brain, our ego has these knee-jerk reactions that have come about all our life to try to, I guess, protect itself from bad experiences. But those knee-jerk reactions are more often destructive than they are constructive,
Mm. Sure.
and you have to like understand them. And another thing, meditation helps you do that. You can see beyond them, and they start coming in and interfering when you're trying to meditate, because your brain well, it's a scamp. It tries to come in, and through meditation you can learn to recognize when these negative emotions are coming out in you, and you can recognize them for what they are and not let them control you, which they
Yeah.
often do. They control you. You get angry, or you get afraid, or you get insecure, or you get jealous. You know, you can see beyond when those, you can see those emotions for what they are when they're coming, and you can laugh at yourself and say, there I go again. And you can get beyond them and be your real self, your real self.
Mm. Yeah, to be authentic with oneself, I think it's a struggle that many people have. We have, as you said, the different constructs or different way in which we present to the world, which may not necessarily be authentic. And so understanding and accepting all sides of us. So in psychology, we have what's called the persona. That's what you see here. And then I have the shadow. The shadow side of me is that sneaky side, or that side of me that I don't often let people see. In other words, it's the opposite of how my persona. But with the recognition of accepting all of who you are allows for a person to truly live a life that's fulfilled, because they understand as dark as they can go, that means it's just as light as they can go. And so to really live in a life of how you want to live, obviously my shadow side isn't going to be coming out a lot, but I can accept that that's part of who I am. And in that allows for me to be my truly authentic self.
Yeah, once you understand your entire self, the shadow and the persona, then you know who you really are, and you can
Yeah.
understand, you can find your life's purpose. I mean, some people just go along and somebody said should be your major in college, or you're good at this, and you do it, and it may not be what makes you happy or what fulfill. There must be
Mm-hmm.
something more to life than what I'm doing. Well,
Yeah.
knowing, learning, understanding your whole self can help you find your purpose in life, your true purpose in life.
Excellent. Well, Ted Orenstein, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on my show today. We could talk about this all day. If my viewers and listeners want to find out more information about you and to purchase your book, Awaken Your Soul, How to Find Your Inner Spirit and Life's Purpose, where would they find all this information online?
You can easily just go onto Amazon, Awaken Your Soul, and you'll find it. Actually, I don't know when this is coming out, but between July 26th and July 30th of 2023, you can get the e-book for free. I don't know when this comes out, but you can go on there and you can get the Kindle, you can get the paperback, the hard, and also I have a website, tedorenstein.com, where I have blogs and I have insights, and I'm going to be putting a newsletter on there very soon.
Wonderful.
I,
So this since the show is going to syndicate for many years to come, you'll probably hear the show after that time. So if you do, then obviously still go to tedorenstein.com and find the information there, as well as go to Amazon, and you can also find the book. Once again, Awaken Your Soul, How to Find Your Inner Spirit and Life's Purpose. My viewers and listeners also know that if they can't find this information any other place, simply go to the show notes at jamesmillerlifeology.com. Have all this information there as well. Ted Orenstein, thank you so much for being a wonderful guest on my show today.
Thank you very much. Thanks. It's been very nice.
And congratulations for your first interview. You did a great job.
Yeah, my first video interview. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay. Thanks.